What is better than drinking coffee from a Yeti? Eric? Nothing, right?
Nothing. Coffee's the way to go.
Thank you. Nick, anything you want to add to that?
I like drinking, hold on here. Let me see if I can, like drinking water from my Yeti.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got one that says Texags, which means I'm management, which means I'm a big deal.
I got my Gatorade bottle over here, the
that's-
classic one.
He
Get
doesn't-
that out of here.
Yeah, he doesn't realize this is a sponsored thing now. Texags Rewind has grown up again. We were sponsored once before, and then Yeti said, give it to me. We want it. So we appreciate you, friends at Yeti. Today on the program, Buzz Williams. That was yesterday he was named the SEC Coach of the Year, but that happened after our show, so we had to talk about it. Savage, tell me something good about Buzz. Go.
His just rants anytime. I don't even know if you want to call them rants, but just whenever he's on our show, man, there's just so much stuff to take in from what he says, and me and everyone back here just love breaking it down.
Yeah, that means I caught Nick by surprise. He was like, what do I say? What do I say?
That's a fact. I mean, me and Cade, he's here on Mondays when we have Buzz on, we just like sit and listen to him and look at each other like, did he really just say that?
He did. He did say that. Eric, give me something good about Buzz Williams in less than 12 minutes that Nick took, like maybe 10 seconds.
One thing off the top of my head, his ability to sweat through multiple suits during games.
Okay, you guys are just like, come on. How about he's just a motivator? Like he could be a inspirational speaker, like a motivational speaker, whatever. He's great. We love Buzz. He deserved that. We had Shireen Williams on the show. Got some pro football talk stuff to get into. John Puglisi talking about tournament seeding on the program, and the SEC tournament preview with Tom Hart, who's going to be on a lot of those calls. That and more. It is Texags Rewind presented by Yeti. But Buzz, your coach of the year.
Well, yeah, and you don't complain about honors, but quite frankly, Buzz should have been the just coach of the year. Stackhouse, they did play better, but the fact of the matter is, they're 11-7. Lost, they won one game on at least one on a buzzer-beating shot that was, but they got better. They did get better, but what they did isn't anything like what A&M did. And quite frankly, if this is the coach's team, I wouldn't be surprised if part of this was that Stackhouse they're starting to see some rumblings up at up at Vanderbilt, whether or not about the job he's doing, and coaches will tend to stick together.
Yeah.
So, no, this guy did a great job. I mean, they did. They got better. They did. I think there was something like finished 6-7 or 7-8, something like that. They really finished strong, and they did lose their best player for Liam. What's his last name?
Liam Neeson.
No, not him. Can't think of his name. But
sorry, I felt like dropping.
Robbins.
Vanderbilt 11-7.
They went 8-9 to finish. They went 8-9 to finish.
8-9 to finish.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to Buzz, I only caught 4.5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of Feinbaum yesterday when I was picking up kids at some point. I think high school kids. I had them on for a little bit. But it was a lot about Nate Oates, at least what I heard. Again, 4.5 minutes. I don't know if anybody else knows about Nate Oates, that he deserved it because they were the best team in the SEC, and how he managed the on-the-court product with all the off-the-court stuff happening.
Yeah, I think all three of those guys really had a good combine, good enough anyway, and I think Jalen Jones is going to be sitting there in that 2 to 4 probably round. They're all really about the same, but he's going to be sitting there in that 2 to 4 round projection. I'd probably say more 3 or 4 in there. I listened to all three of them, and he was one of them. But probably I am expecting him to be the third of those three to be drafted out of those three.
Okay, so
and then
A-Chain.
Yeah, go ahead, Owen.
A-Chain.
Yeah, I think, A-Chain, I know he was a little bit disappointed he didn't have the fastest 40 time, but boy, he looked so smooth doing it. 4.32, it was the third fastest at the combine. 2 DBs ran faster. And, they did have him do wide receiver drills. So I think your comparison to Dante Hall was a good one. I asked him if he knew who Dante Hall was. He didn't. And I explained, and Philip Wilson from AP said, man, Dante Hall is fast. And I said, this guy's fast too. And So I think they like the speed. I think they like the versatility. They like the special teams. I think he can play some wide receiver. They can split him out. So, I think he improved his draft stock, if that's even possible. But that 2 to 3 round range that we've been talking about, second day, I think that's still kind of where he is. Bijan is going to be the first running back drafted somewhere in the first round. I think he'll probably go lower than what he should, and it's just a fact of the position that he plays, because running backs are just devalued in the NFL. They think they can get running backs later in the draft, and they can be productive, and most teams use more than one running back. You look at what the Titans are doing now with having Derrick Henry on the trade block, and that just shows you that they think that running backs are a dime a dozen.
The committee makes up their mind on who a team is, and I would say unless they win this tournament, they're probably a 6, maybe a 5. But that's just kind of how I feel like they are looked at.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised, given the strength of the SEC this year, that the committee would hold those Myrtle Beach games against them, with maybe the Wofford game mixed in there. When you go through a gauntlet like the SEC, and you only lose a couple games, and you beat the top team in the country, and I would expect a little bit more leeway, but it seems like human element has been taken out here. So yeah, I mean, it's looking like a 6. Maybe they win a couple games in the SEC. Maybe they can get to a 5, but they're gonna have a really tough game for whoever they play in the winner of the Arkansas Auburn game. So yeah, I can't wait to watch. I mean, this team is just so fun to watch right now, and it's the best time of year for me.
So you brought up Arkansas and Auburn. You've been on coaching staffs. You understand how tournament preparations work. I didn't get into it with the Buzz yesterday, but I'm curious, what do most teams do? Are they doing scouting reports for those two teams, setting up for both of those teams, and looking ahead at potentially Kentucky? How does that kind of work in your preparation this week?
So generally, half your staff takes one opponent, half takes the other opponent. Depending on how they mix up their scouts throughout the year. I know they've got an offensive person and a defensive person and special teams person. I know they have those roles as defined. But they're going to watch a lot of the last time that they played both those teams. They're going to watch the most recent games of those teams, and then they'll also live scout that game.
Tom, in your research and your preps this week, is there a team that maybe has that A&M 2022 run in them, a team that man, this team kind of came out of nowhere, but there's kind of going in that direction? Vandy's been playing great ball. Is there a team that you could see making a deep run that maybe people aren't thinking of?
Well, Vandy would be at the top of my list. Not just the wins they put up, but some really quality wins, including coming from behind to knock off Kentucky. The only issue with that is the guy who I've always felt was their best player, Liam Robbins, their 7-foot center, is out with a broken leg. So now they beat Kentucky without him. He got injured early in that game, and so they deserve credit for being able to pull that off. But I just think when you enter a tournament and Vandy's playing game 2, so you got a day 2, so you got to win Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or at least Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's really hard to do. A&M deserves a lot of credit for what they did in Tampa last year, but there's a reason why it was so appreciated, because it's not impossible, but it's really, really hard to stack those wins up, especially when the top 4 teams don't have to play game 1 and they're allowed to rest guys and get healthier. So Vandy would be right there. I'd also lean towards Arkansas, although they haven't played well late in the win-loss column. I mean, they almost won at Alabama, so that's a great game. Nick Smith is back. They have a lot of talent, but it hasn't been enough to get them over the hump in the last 2 weeks. And they're just going to need to make more plays at the end of games to be able to pull that off.
All right, Casares, we've had Nick do this in the past. I'm going to have you. I want you to tell the people what to do, but I want you to do it in an accent. Choose an accent. I don't care what kind of accent it is. Do it. Go.
You can't do this to me.
Well,
Exactly. When he puts you on the spot, it's hard.
Like sometimes you got to do it like this. Okay?
You know you need to like and subscribe, and you got to share it with your friends, and make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything when we post here at TexAgs Radio. So
What in the world?
Hey, so
was
that
that?
was
You went no. Hold on. You went Spanish to British to Irish to like some guy from Pennsylvania.
No. That was Sing from Outer Banks. If you guys have seen season 3, he's like the main villain, and he has like an accent. And before everything and after everything, he always says and he has an accent. I think he's Middle Eastern or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Nick, did you hear the way I heard it? Like he changed.
Yeah,
Nick-
it was like back to normal voice.
You
then
put me
another
on the
accent.
spot. You're really good at doing that, David.
Yeah, it's called a radio show where we pick on each other. That's what we do.
Hey, I'm adjusting.
You've been here for 2 years.
This is my second year.
Thank you for watching, guys. If you watched through that entire thing, please tell us what you thought about that accent or those accents or like the 25 accents he had. Thanks for watching.